Kochie's Business Builders is proudly brought to you by IKEA Business Network, creating a better everyday life at work.
Coming up on Kochie's Business Builders, we meet the family behind Personalised Favours, your pick for Australia's favourite family business in 2024. Young Henry's co-founder Richard Adamson reveals the secret sauce behind one of Australia's most loved craft breweries. Plus, how AGL is helping Dillicious Pickles hit their net zero goals. G'day and welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders, the show that gives small business a big leg up. We're kicking things off with a feel-good story about Australia's favourite family business 2024 winners, Personalised Favours.
I love knowing that we're part of so many special occasions. People's memories are being made with our gifts. It could be the birth of a child or a gift for a new dad. That is so rewarding for us. Hi, my name's Melissa and I'm the founder of Personalised Favours.
I'm Matt and I'm the CEO of Personalised Favours.
So Personalised Favours is an online store that sells personalised gifts for every special occasion. The aha moment came when I was planning my own wedding and I couldn't find any personalised wedding favours that were of quality. Everything was overseas, it was really expensive. So that's where I just noticed that gap in the market and I thought I'm onto something here, and that's why I started the business. So I started my side hustle from home in my garage over 10 years ago. And I was actually outsourcing all my production work to other suppliers. And I thought to myself, I really need to cut out the middleman and do the production work myself. I had my heart set on buying a laser engraving machine. So I'd saved up $10,000 and I went to a visual impact show in Melbourne to buy my machine. I soon found out that the starting price for a laser engraver was actually $35,000. I was blown away and so upset that I couldn't buy this machine. Anyway, there was a big draw of the day and it was to win a laser engraving machine. So I actually put my hot pick business card in this drawer and guess who won? I won. And since I could start doing the production work myself, there was more margin in my products and then my business just grew from there. Matt is my brother-in-law. My business was growing so quickly and I guess Matt saw some potential in my business and I saw a lot of potential in Matt. My background is industrial design, whereas Matt's background is financial banking. So it just made perfect sense for us to join forces and create this amazing team.
There was lots of market research completed and I could see that e-commerce was in its early days. Even though it had been around for about a decade by that point, it was still not a lot of adaptation and there was still a lot of people who weren't buying online. So the fact that there was so much potential for us to grow in this market was all the opportunity that I needed to take that leap.
When I first started the business, I had like 20 products and now over the last 10 years, we've grown that to over 2,000 products.
We've had some pretty big challenges over the years. One of the big ones was COVID. Pre-COVID, we were a largely wedding-focused business. And when COVID came along, it shut down that entire industry. So we had to pivot pretty quickly and really embrace the other special occasions. And then that actually led to the business exploding because people couldn't get to the shops, so that they had to purchase online. We ship about 12.5% of our products into New Zealand. The shipping's really easy to get it in there and they speak the same language. Being personalised products, we've got a little bit of a limitation in the fact that none of us speak any other languages other than English. So we're going to be really restricted to countries that speak English. So if you're thinking the UK, Ireland, the United States and Canada really represent opportunities for us.
I think winning the award is such an honour because it's sort of recognising what we've built together as a family, which is incredible. And also just recognising, like all the hard work that we've put into this business and how far we've come from 10 years ago and where we were in the garage to now being here in this incredible warehouse. We celebrated as a team. It was an incredible win.
After the break, we're cracking open a conversation with Young Henry's co-founder, Richard Adamson. He's pouring out the wisdom on how to build a brand with community spirit and a cult following. Don't miss it. Welcome back to Kochie's Business Builders. We're having a chat with the bloke who's built one of Australia's most recognisable craft beer brands, Richard Adamson, co-founder of Young Henry's. What started as a niche indie brewery has grown into a household name, stocked in pubs and bottle shops right across the country. We're going to dive into the strategies behind Young Henry's growth, how they carved out a loyal customer base, and what small business owners can learn about standing out in a competitive market. Richard, mate, great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Kochie. Really appreciate it.
When you first started, what was the vision for the business?
The vision has changed dramatically over the years. So when we first started, we were focused on having a restaurant. We were selling barbecued meats and making beer.
So the barbecue meats came first before the beer?
That was part of the vision. We got that idea got crippled by council. Red tape got in the way. So we had to pivot towards wholesale business, and we've never looked back since.
What was the vision for the branding of the beer? Did it reflect you?
The branding was super important to us, and we spent probably a year working on the brand and the ethos before we even made any beer at all. It was really about authenticity and something that could communicate our values of quality product, being in touch with our community, and reflecting who we are. And a lot of us are musicians, or either former rock musicians or current rock musicians. And we wanted to reflect the place we came from as well. And Newtown's very much the centre of that.
So how do you carve out a niche for yourself and also build that connection with customers? Because you're up against the behemoths of the liquor world, these massive international companies.
Look, it's really one customer, one beer at a time. You know, beer is about shared experiences, I think, and it's about getting people together and communing, really. So what are those occasions where people do that, and can we tap into those occasions? And yeah, music's a great one for us. So we reached out to some of our friends in the music industry, started collaborating with them and making beers with them, and that way we could tap into their audiences as well. And I think that sort of culminated with the Foo Fighters giving us a call when they last toured here in Australia, and we managed to do a beer for them.
When you look back, the most effective marketing strategy that you adopted, was there one that surprised you?
Selling beer over the bar directly to the customer was very important when we first started, getting that direct feedback on what people like. I don't think you ever take the customer for granted.
What did you learn from that? Some of the feedback that you got in the early days?
Well, people were looking for an alternative beer, but it wasn't necessarily about big flavours, and I think it was about the genuine connection of the maker to the customer as well.
Then you went from a niche to a pretty mainstream beer brand. How did you maintain that connection from almost being this little indie club and culture to really selling him in bulk?
Very tricky to do, and I think, yeah, just don't ever lose your core values. Keep that in sight and in mind all the time. So it's really just about broadening that reach, not changing who you are.
Right.
Look, starting a company is like climbing a mountain. Just getting the product off the ground, you're going to make mistakes along the way. But I think it's about having that resilience and understanding that's going to happen, and not being discouraged, and just keep going.
All right, just to wrap up, some quick marketing tips for small business owners who don't have a big budget, but want to get bang for their buck. By the sound of it, connection with community is
connection, community, and collaboration, I think. So look at the brands that you admire and are in different market segments, and see how you might be able to work together. And that might just be a really simple promotion, gift for purchase or something like that. But that's a way of reaching an audience that is like-minded, that may enjoy your product as well.
Fantastic. Richard, brilliant stuff. Thank you so much for joining us and for all the advice.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Want to grow your customer base without the guesswork? Keen to pick the brains of our top customer growth experts? Join the Business Builders Community Members Hub. You'll get access to the full video series, plus a treasure trove of tools and resources to help your business go gangbusters. And the best bit? It won't cost you a cent. Joining's free. Coming up, Dillicious Pickles show us how they're becoming a net zero hero at their Melbourne brinery. Plus, the small business interior design service you can use at IKEA.
I honestly don't use a lot of pickle punts. I'm a purist. And I grew up eating pickles. From the time I was about 2, I was eating them straight out of the jar. It's very memorable. Hi, I'm James, co-founder of Dillicious Pickles, and we're here in Melbourne. We make Aussie-made dill pickles and brine-infused condiments. Our pickles are used in a lot of burger chains, small cafe, right up to national caterers and some stadiums as well. Biting into a delicious pickle is very flavorful, very crunchy, and it's something we want you to absolutely remember. I am married to an Australian. After meeting overseas, we moved back here and I was missing what I was used to in the States. Since I couldn't find them, I decided to make them. So for over a decade, I worked in fruit and veg in hospitality, so selling fresh produce to restaurants. And my wife is a dietitian and teaches food sustainability at Monash University. In 2018, my wife and I had a crack at selling them on the side at farmers markets, and they always kept on selling out. And that's when we realized we should have a real crack at making it a business, not a side hustle. The thing that sets Dillicious apart is our flavors and our cucumbers. So the cucumbers that we use are a Kirby cucumber, which is where we get our crunch from. So in our retail range, we have straight up garlic, which is a caraway garlic dill pickle. We have our not so sweet pickle, which is a honey jalapeno that uses local wildflower honey. And we have our oh so spicy, which is a habanero and horseradish dill pickle. I'm very proud of the fact that our kids love our pickles. And so it's every single day a jar of Dillicious Pickles is getting eaten in our house. We do anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 kilos of cucumbers a week. Our cool room definitely uses the most energy. We've set a goal of becoming a net zero business by 2028. It's important to my wife and I personally, and so when we got in touch with AGL to look into green power, they were actually the ones who came back to us and helped us with getting solar. If it hadn't been for AGL, it could have been one of those things that fell into the too hard basket, but instead it became something that got done because we had the support of our energy company. I'm really excited in the future for all the little things that we can actually achieve. So improvements to our packaging, improvements to our freight, building a new cool room that's more efficient. There's a lot of things that we can do along the way that will create that big change that we want to have.
Did you know that IKEA for Business offers interior design services? Beck from Little Lights Play Therapy sat down with IKEA interior designer Janet to run through the process.
I found the perfect space to open my play therapy clinic, but it needed a lot of work. So I met with an IKEA interior designer and it was such a great experience.
Working with the beautiful muted green in the fabric, really inviting for families.
It was very collaborative and informative and actually a lot of fun.
This is the one that we have selected for you.
Well, that looks comfy. I like that it has a bit of a rock to it. The space had quite a few unusual nooks and crannies that IKEA was able to work with us to find was a solution for everything.
Drawers,
Nice.
for storage.
And it feels nice as well, I like it. Without a doubt, I would recommend that other businesses work with IKEA.
Still to come on Kochie's Business Builders, finance expert Amanda Thompson is here with her end of financial year game plan, practical tips to help you wrap up the year strong. Running a small business isn't just a job, it's a roller coaster ride, and sometimes that ride can be mentally exhausting. A recent study found that nearly 40% of Australian workers expect stress and burnout to be harder to manage in 2025. What's more, 90% feel that burnout is ignored until it becomes critical. That's a ticking time bomb for your people and your small business. But here's the good news. Prioritising mental health is not just good for your team, it's good for your business. Here are 3 ways to protect your employees' mental health and yours as the small business owner as well. Number 1, check in regularly with staff. Secondly, encourage work-life balance and boundaries. And finally, provide access to mental health resources. After all, a healthy team is a happy team, and that's smart for every business and for you personally.
Tax time. Just saying the words can make a small business owner break out in a cold sweat. But it doesn't have to be that way. We've brought in one of the best to help take the edge off, finance expert Amanda Thompson. She's here to dish out her top tips to help you stay on the ATO's good side and maybe even put a bit of cash back in your pocket. Now, Amanda, tax time, traditionally really stressful for a lot of small business owners. What can they do to start off with their financial prep to get on the front foot?
First of all, it shouldn't be a panic. I know it is, but it shouldn't be. It's a checkpoint. You want to start with clarity. So you want to know your numbers. You want to reconcile your bank accounts, check outstanding invoices, pay your debts as quickly as possible. It's about understanding more than just giving a spreadsheet to your accountant. And if it's been a profitable year, look at prepaying expenses, look at making top-up super contributions, more money in your hand, less to the tax man.
Cash flow always seems to get a bit tight around end of financial year, so how can small business owners avoid that squeeze?
It's like a birthday, Cec, it comes around every year. It shouldn't be a surprise, yet we do treat it like that. The secret is proactive planning. So we don't have a lot of time before the end of June now, but again, just check your accounts. Use it as that checkpoint. Lodging your BAS on time, starting your monthly payments. Use things like Xero and look at your activity statements or contact your accountant.
What about budgeting? What kind of role does budgeting play during tax time? I know it's the word everyone's like, budget.
You've known me long enough, I don't even like that word. I think it's a dirty word. I like spending plan. But cash flow is so much more important than a budget. Remember, budgets are really this profit and loss statement. Cash flow is king or queen. It's what's in the bank account. And again, once you review that and reset, you'll be able to see what's going to work next year. So if you had a great year, what worked? If you didn't, what didn't work? And then you can reset those figures and make adjustments as necessary.
A lot of people, they're scared about what they owe to the ATO, and I'm not surprised given the harsh penalties that can happen if you don't pay your tax bill on time. So what can we do to kind of take that fear out of the whole tax equation? Because people just go, they're frozen sometimes, they quake.
The more you avoid your numbers, the scarier they become. Fear thrives in the unknown, and I know I'm banging on, but understand your numbers. Knowledge is confidence. Work with your accountant or with your accounting software or your bookkeeper to forecast ahead of time. Again, pay your BAS monthly, or even paying yourself a wage is one of the biggest things a business owner can do, because you're setting aside tax in advance even for your personal money.
So yeah, I like that, because even though your BAS is due quarterly, there's no reason why you can't get ahead and pay it in advance.
Yep, superannuation's another one. Pay superannuation monthly. Keep the cash flow going.
And very soon that's going to change as well. Payday super is going to come into play, so maybe it's a good idea for people to start being a bit proactive about how they pay those payments that are going to be due on a calendar basis.
And the ATO is more flexible than we think. As long as we're talking to them or your accountant's talking to them, payment plans can sometimes force you into trying to get that debt out of the way as well, instead of, again, pulling the wool over our eyes and forgetting it exists. That's going to get us into more trouble.
Yeah. For business owners who might have had a tough time, hard financial year, how can they prepare and get ahead for the next year?
The first thing is to show yourself some compassion. Not all years are going to be great years, and we have been living in one of the tightest years from a cost of living perspective. That does flow through to businesses. So again, it's about reviewing your numbers. Do you need to increase your prices? Do you need to restrict some of your expenses? Make confident decisions, and the only way you can do that is to know your numbers.
Fantastic advice, Amanda. Thank you so much. Brilliant stuff there.
Thanks, Cec.
What a jam-packed episode. From pickles to profits and heartfelt gifts to hearty business advice. We have covered it all today. Big thanks to our guests for sharing their stories and their insights. And remember, end of financial year doesn't need to be overwhelming. Just take it step by step and don't forget to breathe. You'll find more advice, templates and real-life stories over at businessbuilders.com.au. And follow us on social media at Kochie's Biz to stay in the loop and stay inspired all year round. See you next time. Next week on Kochie's Business Builders, we meet Emma McNeely, founder of Expressions, the tea towel fundraising business that's been drying dishes and raising dollars for over 25 years. And Carney Architecture gets a stylish office makeover thanks to IKEA for Business.